Yellow!
Hey bud, what's up?
Oh, just getting going here.
Place a disaster?
Oh yeah, big time, bud.
Let's make this happen.
Sounds good.
I'll be up front. Bye.
Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs. Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm not running from myself because I someone else. I see light come down from her. Think I'm dead, but I'm not sure. She's so full of discontent. I said things I never meant. All the night to look behind. You can't change my state of mind. Don't take my scars away from me. Don't take my scars away from me. Don't take my scars away from me. Don't take my scars.
Thought something hard to think I fought through. Tried to dream of home to 1998 I was in a church street on the road. I was getting high day and watching my over.
It's Ryan's spot of the week. It's Ryan's spot of the week.
Hey, so this week we're talking about black-eyed kids, also known as the black-eyed children. We're not talking about old Fergie, Manny Man, Manster face either. We're talking about a bunch of creepy ass kids with black eyes. So black-eyed kids, they started to appear, or stories of them appeared around 1998 when a journalist by the name of Brian Bethel reported that he had this strange encounter where he was driving and he seen these teenage kids, let's say 13 to 15, classic teenagers, maybe pimple face, a little bit of emo hair going, but they looked normal to begin with. He didn't really notice anything. And when they waved him down, he stopped the car, rolled down the window, and of course, they asked him immediately if they could get a ride. So, this is a normal thing, teenagers bum rides, but apparently he immediately started to feel really weird, like something was wrong. That's when he noticed the eyes. We're talking big bastard black coal eyes, no iris, no pupils. Maybe it's all pupils, I don't know. Huge, massive eyes, all black. So Big Brian, he said that he nearly almost opened the door to give the kids a ride, even though he was so creeped out. But at the point when pow, he seen those creepy eyes, he got the flying frig out of there like he had to have a massive shit after eating some bad Mexican food. We're talking tires squealing, classic getaway. This was one of the first reportings ever of the black-eyed kids. So now I'm bringing you to Kansas, dusty, windy city in the wind. I don't know, maybe that's Chicago, but dust in the wind, Kansas, right? So, home of Pizza Hut, believe it or not. 1958, old Pizza Hut started pumping out the pizzas, stuffing their crust later on down the road. Classic. So 2001, this girl, she's on her way home from work. She's getting dropped off in her lovely little home. So she gets dropped off outside the driveway. She just wants to go inside and eat some Pizza Hut Pete's. She had a long, hard day at work in Kansas. So, just so happens there's a couple of creepy hooligan teenagers standing, creeping in her driveway, just like Michael Jackson outside the elementary school at recess, just standing there looking at her. Immediately she's creeped out. What are these kids doing? Why are they there? What do they want? What do the kids say to her immediately? Can we come inside? Can you let us in? Please let us in. It's like, can you get any more creepy than that? I don't think so. That's when she notices again. Bam, the eyes. Black coal, friggin' big lumps of coal for eyes, pretty much. Rocking the coal eyes. And I mean, right then, it's like, she basically poops her drawers. She's so scared. And the kids just keeps yapping about how the neighbors won't let them in. They need to use the phone. And it's like, how are you gonna use the phone? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna read the phone numbers with your friggin' black coal eyes? I don't think so. So just gotta sum this up once again. We got a bunch of creepy kids aged 12 to 17. Looks like normal douchebag teenagers, just creepier. And then people notice the coal black eyes, something weird going on there. We're gonna have to figure that out. And usually an overwhelming sense of fear that just, devours the person's soul and makes them so scared that they either crap themselves or shut the door or take off screaming, or it's just creepy. A lot of the world religions and spiritual beliefs believe that evil spirits or demons, they need an invitation to come in your home. So maybe, the black-eyed kids are just some kind of weird, black-eyed demon spirit that just wants to come in and use your phone to call the demon headquarters and maybe figure out what they're supposed to do next, whether it's harvest your soul for, I don't know, whatever they do with your soul. Another wide, commonly accepted explanation for the black-eyed children is the fact that it may be the ghosts of coal miners from the 1940s era in Cape Breton, down in Glace Bay, mining coal, and some miners got trapped in there, and now their spirits are just wandering around Smallville in Kansas, and they just want to come in and use their phone and come home so they can eat some Fat Boys pizza and play the fiddle, because I mean that's what Cape Bretoners do, right? I mean, if you're from Cape Breton, you gotta play the fiddle. Jimmy Rankin family, you know, Ashley McIsaac fiddling with his arse up on the roof, all of the above. I mean, chances are, I think it's probably a bunch of kids down in Kansas playing baseball, getting double shiners, you know, taking baseballs in the eye, and they got big old black eyes. I mean, that probably happens every day in Kansas, right? So I'm not saying that these kids are real or that they exist, but fact of the matter is the stories exist and the stories are real. So I think that gives us enough reason to hire Boba Fett, the greatest bounty hunter of all time, who actually puts Dog the Bounty Hunter to shame. Even though some people believe they're the same person, I don't think so. I don't think Dog would be able to fit that voluminous, awesome mullet inside such a confined space such as Boba's helmet. I don't think it's possible. But I think we need to hire Boba Fett, go out there, solve the mystery of the black-eyed kids, and, you know, because until that moment, until he solves the mystery, we're just going to keep asking ourselves, what in the name of the sweet baby of Bethlehem is going on around here?
It's Ryan's spot of the week. It's Ryan's spot of the week.
Excuse me, Polo? You're wearing a Polo shirt. May I call you Polo? Okay. You want to hear Red Red Wine? Okay. You got a car? All right. Out of the parking lot. Take a right. Drive. You'll hear it eventually.
It's a great song!
Oh, no, it's a great song. I know. April Wine, Red Red Wine. It's a mind fuck, I know.
Mark's made a list of the best albums in the history of the human being. Records we all should talk about. An album we could all listen to this week.
Alrighty, so we're right back at you here with number 18. And as you notice, it's another Gun Club album. Miami was the one I chose, but where this one is such an incredible album, you can't really separate them. Well, I guess by one notch I had to separate them. But at this point, there was no knowledge at all. This is like 1981 Los Angeles. And if you think about Los Angeles 1981, you're thinking of the hardcore punk movement that is roaring. And of course, Motley Crue's first album and all that. So, for this album to come out, it's not in with what was happening in LA summer of 81. This album is like a trip to the bayou swamps of Louisiana where the Creole boys are lying dead and you use their blood to paint your costume red. Yes, sir, Jeffrey Lee Pierce, a pudgy kid originally from Texas that came out of the suburbs with a band called Red Lights, starts a band called the Gun Club, and it's the best album of LA 1981, and that's saying a lot because LA 1981 was we're talking Black Flags Damaged, friggin' TSOL, Circle Jerks Group Sex. It's a lot of happening stuff in LA in 1981. But this is the album, the first Gun Club album, Jeffrey Lee Pierce. And if you caught the last episode, I kind of elaborated on this singer-songwriter called Jeffrey Lee Pierce, but this album is a whippersnapper. Oh my God, it is the blues. It is, you just want to like shut off everything around you when you're listening to this, and you can actually punch yourself in the eye and give yourself a black eye listening to this album, the power that it encapsulates. The Gun Club. It's hard to say. You can almost go blank talking about the Gun Club because it's filled with mystery and the sin of the white man's migration to the Americas, the takeover. So, and this album, you know, Kid Congo was the original guitar player for the Gun Club, Kid Congo Powers, and his spirit is really on this album. But it's oddly enough, this is the same lineup that did the Miami record, and so it's Ward Dotson on guitar, but it still feels like a Kid album, I find, even though the only song that Kid wrote is For the Love of Ivy. Because he, as I mentioned in the last segment, Jeffrey was the head of the Blondie fan club, but Kid Congo was the head of the Cramps fan club. And Creeping Ritual was the original name of this band. And after a couple of riots and club owners saying that Creeping Ritual will never work in this town again, Keith Morris of the Circle Jerks said to Jeffrey, "Why don't we call it the Gun Club?" And Jeffrey said, "Yeah, that's right. That's good. Well, how can I repay you for that name?" So he wrote Group Sex for that album by the Circle Jerks. This album was recorded for $250 by Chris D. And if any of you ever get to hear this album, you'll be amazed because the sound quality is incredible. The Miami album we talked about last time is gray and shellacky and thin. This album is very much, the blood is running very, very viscerally. What do we say? Tommy Johnson, Leadbelly, again, you might mention Leadbelly. It's seeped with, I don't know, with the voodoo. It can get into your blood, and it can be like a curse. But as long as you keep the faith and you're safe and you're good parents, this can just be a really good entertainment. But I'll tell you, when they were laying down the railroad lines on the great, takeover of America, some of the people, some of the blacks escaped into the woods, and they almost reverted back to old ways. That was through descendants. And, it was a lot of uncharted areas of America, so there is tribe factor in this. And Jeffrey knows it all. He's a shaman. Jim Morrison would have taken great glee in knowing that Los Angeles was still putting out incredible records like this. So there you go, 1981, Los Angeles, the first Gun Club album, The Fire of Love. And not only when your sex is full of voodoo, but when your skin crawls and it doesn't come back. Jeffrey Lee Pierce, the power of a banshee.
Mark's made a list of the best albums in the history of the human being. Records we all should talk about. An album we could all listen to this week. Let's go to the McDons house. Let's go to the McDons. Let's go to the McDons house and play some songs.
Thanks, everybody.